Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports for a reaction between the Bulls and the Sharks match. Apologies, it is late. Unfortunately, I missed the match yesterday as I was covering. There's just so much sport yesterday. So between football and all the cricket and the rugby and stuff, I didn't get to catch the match at the time. But so I finally had to wait and watch the entire rerun earlier today. And what a match it was. And I just remember seeing the result yesterday and thinking that Finally, the Bulls have arrived. This is finally the sort of performance that we've been expecting, for a franchise which, financially is so much more powerful than everybody else. We've made such big signings. We've brought back Jake White, who have always been the pinnacle of South African rugby. They finally produced a performance worthy of that title, because before today, they just beat the Griquas, or before yesterday, they just beat the Griquas, and they lost to the Cheetahs. And they finally pitched up and put in a very good performance at the Sharks. But before we break it down any further, please do consider subscribing. Bottom right hand corner, they smash the like button. We really are trying to push to get to 200 subscribers, so running out a few days. So please do consider subscribing, share it with your friends, jump in the comments, let me know what you thought of the performance as well. But if you enjoy the performance, smash a like there, and please do show your support. Right, 41-14. A thrashing, a 6 tries to just 1. What a performance by the Bulls, and a performance where you kind of sit there going, where has this been? Why has it taken them so long? Is this the turning point? Because on paper, it's a very good squad. The coaching staff's very good. There's some fantastic players in there. They're led by Dwayne Vermeulen, one of the best 8-mans of the Springboks have ever had. World Cup winner, a major part of that World Cup winner, so important within the leadership group of the Springboks. And it's just a squad that hasn't performed. They got comprehensively beaten by the Cheetahs a week ago, very deservedly. But to turn around like that and to put in this performance against the Sharks, who also, were arguably the favourites for the tournament. If you just look at their form in the Super Rugby earlier this year, they were the form team of such. There wasn't really a form team, but if there were, it would have been the Sharks coming into this tournament. But the Bulls just completely, comprehensively outplayed them yesterday, and credit to them. And what was very nice to see is players who we haven't seen too much of yet of this competition really stand out. Stedman Khan's getting a brace, Marco Verstappen getting a brace, Imrose Papier coming on and scoring a very nice try towards the end. Those sort of things that you just like to see. And yeah, none other than Dwayne Vermeulen, who really did lead from the front. What a brilliant performance by him. And equally a disappointing performance by Seacom Bozanoche, who's been very good. In that first match, I thought he was fantastic against the Lions, and I was really hoping to see another big performance for him, because I think this year we sort of saw a turning point. We saw the Seacom Bozanoche that we've been waiting to see, but it was a bit disappointing this weekend, and just wasn't quite there. And so yeah, but look, I mean, everybody has bad days. You can't really sort of get caught up into too much into it, but somebody that made 5 tackles, missed 3 is not a particularly good stats. But equally disappointing was Loftus, who tried really hard and was very good in the attack. He was the brightest prospect for the Sharks in attack, really, and stats reflected. But defensively, I think missed 5 tackles, which is very unlike Loftus. So look, and it's always difficult in a game where you are on the back foot to try and sort of create something out of nothing. But there are some positives for the Sharks, and I think the biggest positive is the likes of Spoon Corsi, who managed to get back onto the game. Didn't get much to do, unfortunately, and did concede a turnover, but it's good to see him back on the pitch. But yeah, just a good day at the office for the Bulls, and not a particularly good day at the office for the Sharks. But and I suppose a bit of a worry, because when you lose 41-14. It is a big worry, and for a side which has been struggling, and I think the Sharks would have fancied themselves. Yes, it was at altitude, and terrible conditions, which I suppose played right into the Bulls' hands. But at the end of the day, it's all about. And I mean, ironically, if you think about rain and stuff like that, it often rains a lot more in Durban than it does in Pretoria for games. So often, you get quite a dry sort of. It's difficult to keep up with the fitness in Pretoria, but it wasn't particularly good weather. But the Bulls just made it work. And you look at their backline players, and all of them had some really good running meters. All of them managed to sort of, they had just had very good games. I mean, you look at you just go through the back line, you can just see how they just terrorized the Sharks, really. I mean, you look at David Creel, who 2 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. Travis Ishmael also, 2 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. Stefan Gans, 3 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. Cornel Hendricks, 4 defenders beaten, 1 clean break. Kurtley Arendse, 3 defenders beaten, 2 clean breaks. And that just sort of summed up the pretty ordinary tackling, really, from the Sharks. And you go look at the missed tackle stats and the back line, there wasn't a single back. Curran Bosch was the only, ironically, Curran Bosch was the only backline player who did not miss a tackle. He didn't make a tackle, so I suppose there it is. But also, how concerning is that? How do you go through an entire rugby match and not make one tackle or miss a tackle? But Lekanya missing 5 tackles, Marius Lowe missing 3 tackles. Warren Science, just the defense just was not up for it by the Sharks, and you're disappointing. I think look, players like Hiron Andrews really stepped up. He was very good in defense, which was good to see, because I think we've got such a abundance of locks within the country, but there are some players. Marvin Orie is starting to step up. Hiron Andrews is stepping up. Salman Murat was a very hard worker on Friday in the Stormers game there. So some players definitely stepping up, but a very under par performance by the Sharks, and I think this could be a massive catalyst for the Bulls, because we've been waiting for this sort of performance. And I think that Super Rugby Unlocked is anyone's game. I do not think you can look at this tournament, maybe the Cheetahs, but say that there's a clear favourite. Cheetahs are the only ones that are the favourites. They're 2 from 2, from 2 big performances, I suppose. So they are the form team. So Cheetahs favourites, but suddenly the Bulls have shown that the Sharks can be beaten. The Sharks suddenly were very subpar. Stormers have played 2 pretty poor games, but got results. So sometimes that ability to win ugly is paramount within the sort of thing. And the Lions have put in 2 not bad performances, but just haven't been able to get over the line because their disciplines let them down. But the Lions, could have easily won the 2 games that they did lose. And look, I think in many ways the game being called off yesterday kind of helped them. And I know that Hafiz Faria is very, very angry at the way it was called so late. But at the end of the day, I think it was, you can understand why it was called off. It was a big health risk. It was a health risk to play yesterday. But I think that, and what he identified is that there needs to be better procedures to be able to call the game out a bit earlier, so that there wasn't such a big, to be told, 5 hours before the game, right, it's done, is a bit difficult, and there were certain players that were supposed to play their last game for the Union. So it was very frustrating. So the Cheetahs are not particularly happy about the situation. The Lions will probably take it and run, to be honest, because they were very depleted. And even if they get those 2 points, it's 2 points on the board. But yeah, so more point on the Bulls and Sharks. It's got to be a catalyst for the Bulls. After all the investment they've made, the players they brought in, the coaching staff they brought in, this has to be a catalyst, and they have to build on this. And that's why I think, and that's why it's been so exciting, in that in many ways, because of the lockdown, because all these players are really starting from scratch, it is anyone's game, and that's very, very exciting. I think this Bulls performance is such a highlight because it just shows that anybody can win this game. And they've got the Stormers next week, when the Sharks and the Lions have Griquas and the Pumas respectively. Pumas and Griquas respectively. So yeah, a very interesting game. Another big score game. And if you've been watching the under 21s, also been some fantastic rugby today. The Lions and the Bulls will be contesting the under-21 final, and they've been running points in for fun. So yeah, that should also be a very great watch. But yeah, good to see that the Bulls are pitched up, because at the end of the day, we just want to see a competitive tournament. We want to be able to see all teams competing. And I'm not a Bulls fan. I'm a Shark. I'm a Lions fan. So Bulls are like the direct rivals. But it's good to see that after all the investment, that they are starting to see a bit of a change. At the end of the day, we just want South African rugby to be competitive, and the more competitive this competition is, and the more competitive the Currie Cup is, the better it is for rugby, because the Currie Cup's been so stagnant in the last sort of 5-6 years, become a bit of a nothing competition, which is sad for the oldest competition in rugby. But we are finally starting to see performances which could maybe reignite the Currie Cup and really make it something worth playing for. So let's hope this is a turning point. Very big game for the Bulls, and a disappointing game by the Sharks. They're really going to have to take things back to the drawing board, but they are back in Nelspruit next week. At altitude, so they've got a very short time to turn around this performance, but I have no doubt they'll be able to get back up to winning ways against the Pumas, who have looked very good but just sometimes can't go the distance. Please, as usual, consider subscribing, bottom right hand corner there. Please do come show your support. Jump in the comments, let me know what you thought of the performance itself. I'd love to know what you guys thought, and what you think about in terms of people, to players to watch, who's going to win the tournament, where we are, and what we have learned so far in the opening 3 rounds. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, Team of the Week coming up, things we've learned, as well as previews as we continue to cover Super Rugby Unlocked. My name is Stephen. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.